What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Huddle, the number one podcast in flooring. We're here every week to help you guys gain forward progress in your career. Simply put, we're here to help you guys win. To all our new viewers, welcome to the team. What's up, fellas? We got Daniel and Jose and Paul here. Daniel is going to be in and out, I believe, today. Daniel, right?
Yeah, I don't know. So,
And that is
I will
why.
translate that for you. Daniel is at the hospital with his mother and his wife, and so he's going to be kind of uh, just here giving us his pretty face, and hopefully he got a little bit of reception here and there, and he can chime in. But
You can also use the comment box or the chat, and we'll relay some information if needed.
yep,
So full disclosure is actually my mother got her new kidney yesterday, and she actually got the kidney from Daniel's wife, Tanya. So
it's a
there's
beautiful story.
a dual effort there, and yeah, they I got to be
They're
there
both
last
in
night.
recovery, right? Both in recovery right now,
Yep.
and Daniel said he got to go back. I talked to him a little bit before the podcast here. His reception isn't the best, but you got to go back and see him for about 5 minutes. It sounds like so that's good, and wish them a speedy recovery.
Yep.
What a blessing.
Long
Well,
long
today's
long journey for them.
oh for sure. I'm sure. I'm sure that having each other, I don't even know what to say. It's a pretty cool situation. I know it's tough when you got to go through it at all, but man, pretty cool as a family. Um, so, all right. Well, the topic for today is building company culture in flooring in particular, and I would thought a good place to start this. Looks like Daniel dropped off. Maybe he can comment when he gets a chance. Be thinking about him all day. I actually thought the surgery was today, and it was yesterday, and they're in recovery today.
Yep. That was yesterday.
Um,
Recovery today. Busy day for Daniel. Busy couple days.
yes, yeah, for sure. So I thought a good place to start on the topic is just to state that both of us, you and Daniel and us over here have kind of been through all the different phases of the flooring business, from hourly installer, subcontractor. Then we built a company and started hiring hourly employees and subcontractors. And so we got a lot of parallels in the way we've gotten there to where we're at today. And the um, the thing that kind of another similar parallel that really stands out to me is that you guys led by example. It was one of the first things on my notes is to build company culture. One thing that I believe, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this, is lead by example. Like, everybody in my company knows that I don't ask them if they got to go out of town and go grab something or go
Oh,
eh,
dude.
pick up something or go do a job out of town or go uh, do a punch list for somebody else's. One of our hourlies have to go do a punch list for a sub or any of these things, that I'm not asking them to do anything that I have not done or am
Would
not
not
willing
do.
to do again.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
So, there's a lot of different stories that tie into that right there, right? And I used to tell people that all the time. Look, I need you to do this, and they would go, "Oh," it's like, "Hey, dude, I wouldn't ask you to do something that I wouldn't do myself or haven't done, but I promise you, like if I ask you to go dig your hands through, a pile of manure, you best believe that I'm going to do that with you. I'm not going to leave you high and dry. right? I said, then we're both going to walk over to the sink and wash our hands with some soap. I said, but I just need you to do this time because I have to get things set up. I've got to get prepared for the rest of the crew, or it's hard to explain to someone how important every single part of the process is, no matter what portion they are doing at the time, right? You're not always the grunt. You're not always going to be the gopher. Sometimes you're going to be the staging guy. Sometimes you're going to be the lead who goes and talks to someone, right? It's just
Yeah, and
I
that kinda
wouldn't do
gets
it.
to the heart of culture. I mean, a lot of times
Yeah,
we try to get things, um, explain things, but the next point that that leads into, at least in my mind, is that it's casting a vision or a idea for your company to your people that they understand we all have a role in this. We all have a piece of this process. Just like a body has many parts and pieces and the fingers do their thing and the head does
oh yeah,
its, we that's how a company runs. And I will, although I am willing to do it, I don't always have the time to do it because I have to do a few things that you may not be able to do. So I
correct.
can't have you come into the office and cover my bids or cover my negotiations or get my vendor pricing or set up a new AI agent or these things. But because I'm doing those things, I need you to do your things. And so getting buy-in from at a big level has always been, you know, that is where trust comes from. They trust that one of the a quick story about this. One of the things I remember as an hourly employee was how much the office and there was such a divide between the office and the
Oh
field.
yeah,
We're
yeah,
lucky. I shouldn't say lucky. We've been very diligent and very intentional about preventing that from happening in our company. And that happened there because they would have you go do some of the most ridiculous stuff, but everyone in the company knew they were not doing like they'd have you go do stuff and then be off playing at their farm, uh,
mm,
and then call you out to their farm to help them out there, and then you're like, "I'm a flooring guy, dude, I don't cut wood." Like, just ridiculous stuff, and so that can cause because there was no path forward, didn't seem like the company was going anywhere, and that doesn't mean you have to have some massive, like, "Oh, we're gonna be $100 million flooring company, and this is how we're gonna do it." Sometimes that's the case, but sometimes it's just like, hey, we all work together. We're a family owned business. We love one another. We want to continue to grow at the pace of the economy and allow everybody to be gainfully employed and be happy doing what we're doing. So we need everybody's buy-in that we're all going to do our parts.
yeah. And let me touch on what you said a little bit about like going to the farm and doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, uh, when I started in the flooring industry, I was, and I think I was fortunate to work for someone who came from the renovation construction background and then transitioned into flooring. I thought I was fortunate because when we did slow down, there was other things that we could do. Like I was getting I was finding projects like basement remodels and that cause he knew how to do it. And he's like, well, just work with me, bud, and I'll teach you how to do whatever. And I learned how to do so much. And I didn't think about that mindset about how some people don't want to learn how to do other things like that, and it's just really bothersome for them to be out of their comfort zone. I actually didn't think about that till right now when you said that. I was like, oh man, maybe some people just don't like to to step outside of that comfort zone. But I'm thankful
Well, some
for
people
those
want to do
opportunities.
exactly what they were hired to do, no more, no
Yeah,
less. Um, that's part of culture too. So when we hire people, in fact, we're revamping our hiring process here right as we're speaking, actually. Um, but we are keeping some things. And one of the biggest things we believe in is that it's culture before experience. You could be the most experienced flooring guy in the world, but if you're coming in here and you're not willing to learn, we have our core values right up on our walls everywhere. Uh, just to I'm gonna rattle them off, but minutes matter. Don't waste them on things that don't serve a purpose. We care about other. That's number one. Number two is we care about others and their problems and make them feel it through our actions. Number three, we never stop learning, embrace new ideas and technology, never pass up an opportunity to learn something new. Number four, we go beyond expectations, do the extra work, even if it's not your job. Number five, do the right thing. Actually, it's we do the right thing. Number six, we help others succeed and are willing to give our time and our knowledge. Number seven, we prepare. Preparation is a precursor to execution and the number one identifying quality of high performers. Number eight is we collaborate and succeed through teamwork with a dose of hard work. Number nine, execution matters every time, all the time. We follow through on our commitments. So like, do we fail at those things? Yeah, but that is what our core values are. The ones that are most important to us is the learning, the ability to learn, the desire to be humble. So we always look for somebody with a cultural fit, no matter how good they were at their previous job. If they're not humble and they don't show through our interviewing process the willingness to learn new things and to do it other people's way, even if their way has succeeded for them in the past. The truth is, we have our own systems, we have our own processes, we have our own culture and our own team here that you have to assimilate into, not us as a whole company assimilate to a single person. So you have to be willing to learn. And on top of that, you have to be willing to listen. And us as a company, we want to open our ears. So if we do hire somebody that has a great idea, we want them to have the freedom and ability to share that so that we can all succeed from getting better. So we're not saying just come in, work, and shut up, but come learn our processes first. And then if you see some areas where we can do better, then you can present it. All too often, we get somebody that starts and they buck the system early, and not so much anymore. But in the past, which is why we make sure we have a good cultural fit now. But in the past, it would be somebody come in and they'd want to change stuff, and they haven't even learned our way. They don't know if their way is any better at all. And this is a human thing. They don't like humans. We don't like a lot of change
The fear of
even when
change.
we even when we expect it, right? Starting a new job, you would expect change, but we often want to still do it the way we remember doing it at the that we were used to. So those are some things we really look for when we're hiring, um, to make sure we have a good cultural fit. So my answer, that was a long way to answer that. Hiring right based on your culture and who you are as a company helps to maintain your culture and keep it strong and keep it vibrant.
It eliminates some of the struggles that you get with someone who you know isn't a fit, right? At least if someone's fitting the bill, 70%, 60%, you're a lot closer than someone who's only 10% shares one common value. Daniel did send me. I wasn't looking at my phone to be rude or anything, guys. Daniel sent me a text with ours. He wanted me to share some of that with everyone too, just not the whole long version. So forgive me while I look at my phone here. Ours is integrity. Integrity means accountability. We take ownership of our actions, communicate honestly, and follow through on commitments. Choosing the right action is expected every time. Then we knowledge. Knowledge is supported and expected We invest in training and mentorship, and each team member is responsible for personal growth. Learning strengths learning strengthens the team and builds lasting careers. Sorry, I gotta zoom in out here, man. My eyes ain't what they used to be. Quality. Quality is non-negotiable. We prepare properly, execute with care, and respect the details that protect the final outcome. Cutting corners is not acceptable. Eminence. Eminence is earned through consistency and professionalism. We aim to be respected for how we work, how we lead, and how we treat others. And we have some bullet points that go underneath that, right? And every Monday meeting, the employees read that as a team, and they read all the bullet points together as a team. You know, each section is allocated to an employee, and we go over that every Monday meeting. And it's just something that we do we have to do it? No. Should we do it? Yeah. And
Well,
when I say
sure.
do we
Yeah,
have to,
you're intentionally building your culture, doing
yeah.
that. That's
Um,
admirable. I wish. I mean, you just gave me uh, a challenge to, review them more often than what we do. You're doing it every week. That is phenomenal.
it's just a little reminder, right? Like look, we're human. Sometimes you have to remind yourself what the goal was when you started a project, what the goal was when you set out to. What was the goal when we started the podcast? The goal was to reach one person and make a difference in one person's life, right? To help them through a hard time. Have we done that? I don't know. We're just gonna keep doing it until we
Yeah,
figure it
we
out,
sure
right?
have. I'll claim it. We've impacted some people.
But that was it, and that's it. It's and the guys that we have now, we can build on it, right? Like everybody has their moments. Even we have our moments as leaders, right? As the bosses, we have our moments.
Yeah, there's
We're
no
willing to
perfect.
learn. Yeah. So the other day, about out of the comfort zone, one of our guys was here. We were doing some trim work on some windowsills, and I didn't think about it, right. You've been doing flooring for X amount of time. I just said, hey, I need you to start cutting these metals and getting them on the edges. It wasn't done. I was like, hey, Bubba, what's going on? I just don't want to mess it up. Just don't want to like. No one's ever really shown me. I'm like, let me show you. So I went through the whole process with him. I showed him, and he was like, but I don't want to cost you guys money. I just put my hand on his shoulder, looked him right in the eye, and said, you're going to cost us money. That's what learning is all about. I said, but here's the thing, is this is something new. If you mess up, I expect it, right? But you already mess up on things that you know how to do. So what? Why be
Tell 'em I'll
afraid of
make you a
learning?
deal. I won't get too mad at you for costing a little money during learning, as long as you don't get too mad at me when I make a lot of money off of you. You know, I mean,
Right, well, yeah, it's a
that's
trade-off,
really
right?
the truth. You know what I'm saying?
And you know what? The next day, like he needed to boost the confidence. Next day, come in, he's got all the windowsills done. And he was just like so proud of it, right? Like one of our other guys heard me talking to him because it was just me and him, and he just told me he was like, "Man, you just like," he was just like the rest of the day. He was like, "I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get it done." And I was just like, "Hey, dude, sometimes you gotta step back and remember that it was my first time at one point too." And
Well, that leads directly into the next kind of point, which is empower others. And this is in business books throughout. This is not some idea we came up with, but it's a struggle for certain owners, and me being one of them. To be honest with you, it's not that I have a problem releasing control. I do that almost too well. I'm the exact opposite of a micromanager. But empowering others is more than just letting them do their job. It's also acknowledging them when they've done something good. And that's where I'm not as good as I would like to be. Uh, and where there's some room for growth for me to get better is like letting people know, man, that hey, great job. really appreciate you, that kind of stuff. And here's the crazy part. I do it well with our field. I don't do it as well with our office.
Yeah, and maybe because the field, right, that touches you in a different spot, right? Like that's a difference,
I just
a
know
different
how hard
area.
it is to be out there thinking that everybody's in a warm office while you're walking across the half-mile parking lot with your tools because you can't they wouldn't let you park next to the building, and it's 2 degrees outside, and your toolbox is getting cold, and, like, just
Right.
all the crap, that goes into being a tradesman. I mean, we're
Yeah.
not pregnant. I mean, the
And
electrician's gotta do it, like, thankfully, we're
I'll be
not
honest.
still erectors.
I'll be honest, brother. You said you're not good at it, right? And you don't. I don't get a. I'm not good at it either, and I think we've had this conversation before, where I don't. You get lost. You get so caught up in the day to day that you forget that people do some. I want to say some or most need words of affirmation, right? I'm not one of them. I don't require it. I don't need a thank you. I don't need a hug. I don't. I'm just not one of them, right? Like I don't.
Mhm.
If I'm doing it, I'm doing it because I want to do it, because I can do it, because I'm able to do it. So I don't ever need anything back. But if if I ever work with someone, I have an opportunity to teach them something. I do take the time now to do that. Before, when I was in the field trying to run everything and working with Daniel and Crystal and everyone else, like all the the hundreds of people that I've been fortunate enough to teach at least one thing, I was not pleasant to work around when I had deadlines. I was not the pleasant person, and I miss being in the field. I'll be honest, like I miss being able to do it every day, and that's why I said that to you about it. He's got a little place in your heart, right? Like because you remember. But now I can do it, show them something really quick, and then I'm back over here.
Yeah. Come on, Jorge, you know I love you. Come on, Georgie. Uh, it's really not. I mean, you and I did have this conversation, like, off screen, probably a couple of times that
Yeah,
were very similar in that manner, like, I almost get uncomfortable when I get too much, "Hey,
me
great
too.
job," or whatever. I just get a little uncomfortable. Maybe that's something I've gotta work on because I've done better recognizing that, hey, people wanna tell you something, at the very least, accept it for their benefit, if not for your own. And so I've gotten a little bit better at it, but man, I grew up, at a time because I'm 50 and with a a father and an uncle in the trades that was just like they're not they're paying you to do something, and they expect the best out of you. And my
Yeah,
dad used to tell me it didn't matter if you're a trash man, you be the best damn trash man ever. Like
ever,
that
dude.
was his thing. You be the best trash man ever. And so, not searching for the affirmations, but they when you do a good job or you work hard, you do get some of those accolades. And I got to remember that just because you and me both, that just because we don't necessarily need it or even in some cases desire it, others do. Um, other people have. Roland, I said I'm getting old.
That's why I started laughing. I seen it pop up. I'm like, oh, great.
um, but to remember to give it to others, and that is not doesn't come natural to me. So that means I have to build that skill. If I want others to feel appreciated, then I have to build the skill of being able to do that. You know what I mean? And offer those accolades. And like I said, I do it better with my field. When I see them, I'm like, "Hey, dude, I seen that job. Dude, that looked awesome," or whatever. Um, but in the office, we get a new job and somebody shares, "We landed this project." I'm like, "All right, good job." And that's it. Like, it's just not a lot of like, and I don't know, maybe the audience can help me. What am I supposed to say? Oh, you're the best ever.
You know, what's
So
funny is, it, well, let me just touch base on when you said your dad and your uncle, right? What they did is they were a little harder, the old school values a little bit harder, but that's what helped you create your values and your outlook today. So they inadvertently helped you out the same way people inadvertently helped Daniel and I out. You take the things that you didn't like and you add to the things you did like, and that's where we're at today. Now let me get back to the old me. What do you want me to come in there and tell you? Good job doing your job.
yeah.
Like that. That's how I like. So I talk
Well,
to
that's how
myself a
you were
lot when I'm
probably
working.
raised too.
Yeah, it is how I was raised. So like, it's hard to shake that. I didn't change my thought process on that until I had kids. Right. That was when all of that changed. Like, because I want to build them up. I want my kids to have confidence. And lately I've been switching over to the you should be proud of yourself instead of me telling them I'm proud of them. You should be proud of yourself, right? Because now I forget where I read or what book I was listening to where just the change of like, I'm so proud of you, right? They're not trying to keep me happy anymore. Now I'm trying to show them they can find their happiness as well. When I tell them they should be proud of themselves, you did that, dude. You did that. My little ladies, you did that. I didn't do that. You did that. And you should be proud of yourself. And you can see them light up so much differently when I say it like that versus I'm so proud of you. Because I don't want them to feel like they got to make me happy. I want them to understand that they got to make themselves happy, which is going to give them hopefully the type of values that someone's going to want later on in life, where they know they're doing it for them first and foremost, and then the rest of it is just what do you want to say? It's just a bonus that you're helping others, and others are benefiting from your happiness too.
Well, there's a lot to be said for putting God's gifts that He's given you to work in a productive manner. And for the religious people out there, I being one of them, believe that, you get these gifts, and it's like if somebody gives you a nice tool, but you never use it, that's kind of, and you're like, hey, man, I gave you that turbo power groover or whatever, uh, why aren't you using it? And I look at it that way, like, not there's a lot of accomplishment that comes from putting the gifts that you've been given to work, and we all have them. Everybody has gifts. You want to talk about what? I mean, and your brother's not on here, but look at the gift his wife just gave his mother.
Oh,
You know what I'm
who would have
saying?
thought?
Like,
Like, yeah,
and the fact that they're a match, and it's like, right? I mean, we all have things we can do for other people, and Daniel said it earlier. Simon Sinek is all about what can you do for others is what builds you up too, and that comes true. And it's just you got to constantly remind guys like me that lesson. I'm a hard-headed old fool sometimes, and you know, got to remember that people need um, that sense of accomplishment, and
there you
sometimes they
go.
don't know how to give it to themselves.
And you know what? I think I don't know how to do that for myself. I talk to myself a lot while I'm doing something. And it's just like today in the warehouse, one of the guys was struggling with one of the racking. I went out there, helped him take it apart, and I bent some metal back, and he's like, "How did you know how to do that?" I was like, "I didn't." And then I'm sitting there pinching it, and it made it look, it didn't look brand new, but we fixed it. And I was just like, "Dang, Jose, you're so good." And he just starts laughing. And I was like, and that just made me think, like, maybe it's just because I give myself the compliments as I go, like either out loud like that, talking to myself, or like, oh, you did, man, that's awesome. I can't believe that
Well,
worked.
I think he hit on something. It just brought something to mind. Like guys that feel that accomplishment. One of the things I loved about installing when I was in the field all the time is finishing a job and looking at it. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
I would
yeah.
just look at it and be like,
Yep.
man, that looks so good. You know, I didn't even really like, oh, I'm so good. It was just like that looks so good. Obviously, I know I did it, but it just like that sense of accomplishment probably replaces the need for somebody else to come and give
Yeah.
me accolades because I get the sense of accomplishment when I do something well and I use my gifts in a positive manner. I get a sense of accomplishment, and so I don't need it from other people. And maybe that's the thing. Other people may not get that sense of accomplishment on their own, and us as leaders, it's our job to recognize and give the accolades where they may be failing themselves in giving them. That leads, I'm just kind of hitting points that I had written down. I had train and advance. And you guys are really, really good at this training and building your
I
crews
wrote
up.
something down
And
similar to that.
so, what was yours?
I just because I don't know the exact wording, right? But it was a long time ago. I heard uh, prep for success or prepare to fail, right? So that's kind of like you got to prep and force in order to be successful. You have to prep, right? Or you might as well prepare yourself to find failure or not be successful, right? I don't remember the exact words that I heard it in, but it's somewhere in those lines. And that's one of those things that like just stuck with me for, I don't know, ever since I was a kid. Like I heard it when I was a kid. Like
Yeah, it's
when I
like
say a kid,
either
like in elementary, like literally in elementary school, somebody said something along those lines, and I was just like, "Oh, I like that." And it was similar to what you like, what you have in your
core
values.
values.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
I wrote it down before you read that. Just saying.
Well, preparation. I mean, we know this term very well in flooring. Like prepping a floor, the beautiful the beautiful floor without the proper prep is going to look like right on a bad
Hmm.
substrate. So preparation in that manner, like preparing for the final product or preparing for an event, preparing for a, a podcast, preparing for a meeting, that preparation is an important precursor to you executing at a high level. And, you know, go and as you get better and better at those things, less and less preparation is needed. But that doesn't mean that it's not there. You know what I mean? Um, and so yeah, I think that you're exactly right. Like preparing for these things are for any event. I remember we just got back from Tyson. Preparing for that mentally for me took some effort. Um, Being in front of a bunch of people, hosting, and you and us and all the technology your brother was handling, like that took we were in there for hours ahead of time, making sure we were
Yeah,
ready for that.
yeah, and it was a collaboration, a team effort, right? And not only that is we had a couple meetings going into there with the panelists too to kind of prepare and make sure that we got to know each other a little bit before we just jumped on stage and said, "Hey, tell me what your thoughts are on
Yeah,
this," right? So
yeah,
I guess preparation and that comes in a lot of different variations, a lot of different forms,
sure.
and and
I like
you
what
just
Rollins said. Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I like what Rollins says here. He's talking about a server, like going to a restaurant. He says the
Hmm.
simple thing of asking your server their name, then calling them by their name when asking for something makes him feel wanted. Note the service that you will receive will surprise you. So, how do you apply that in businesses? That's a simple example of just recognizing somebody, you know?
Hmm.
Making sure to say hi to them and making sure that their day feels. I had an installer in early this morning, and he was going somewhere out of town. One of our other PMs had him going out of town to do a aforementioned punch list for another crew, and I asked him. about that. I asked him, "What's on your agenda today? Like, what do you got going on?" And he tells me, and you can just see that it made him happy that I gave a darn. Um, Continue to get better at that and keeping that. Because I think it could be toxic to have this attitude like, "Hey, I pay you to do a job, do it. I pay you to do a job well, and that's all you need." That's how I was raised, and that can be a real toxic environment if you're not careful.
Right. And the just a little bit of interaction too, right? Like showing interest in something other than why haven't you left yet? Are you on the road?
Mhm.
Be safe, and just say, hey, what are you going to do? Oh man, you're going to do that. How are you going to approach it, right? And then you're asking them their insight. And I remember, and still now, I'm still excited to tell someone about something that I'm going to do when I'm excited. Like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do, and I want to do this first. Sometimes it's just me rambling, and that process too is, maybe he's going to say something, and maybe he'll be able to ask you for some advice, and like, but I just don't know about this one thing right here. How would you approach it, right? Like, excited to tell you what he's going to do, and yeah, thank you for trusting. And some of that's the trust thing. They're trusting me to go over here and fix somebody else's stuff. Like, they they look. I'm viewed in that higher regard where they trust me to remedy this. Um, I didn't.
That's a good point that probably needs to be brought up at our company meetings with we meet with, Joel, I should say, and Sean, our head of the field, meet with our employees every Friday, go over next week's schedule, talk about safety, do all these things. And the the point being brought up like, "Hey guys, when we ask you to go do this because we trust you."
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna have to bring I'm gonna bring that up. That's a good point.
when before we started Preferred in the place I was working, that was what I had to tell myself, because when I left and went and worked for another company around the U.S. and traveled quite a bit. Um, the the same company that Mr. Jerry McKnight may work for, or may have worked for a while, but I worked with them for a little bit as well. And when I came back, I was like, hey, you guys, I've been gone for like 3, 4 weeks, but I'm going to be bored for the next 5 days before they ship me off again. Do you have something I could do? And that's what I would do. I get minivan, and I would go punch out projects for them or fix. And at first I was like, okay, I'll do it. I asked for it, I'll do it. But then it's like, you know what? They trust me to fix this. They trust me to
Mm.
fix it. So now they trust me to fix this. Let me go in there and do the
And
best
show
I
them I
can.
can do
Right,
this.
right,
Yeah.
right, and remedy it. And it was testing myself too. And I learned a lot. Probably learned more coming behind other installers than I did figuring it out on my own. Because
You can learn a lot that way for sure.
reverse engineering it, but it also helped me when we did start Preferred, and that's when I told Daniel that was my ultimate goal was become the best installation company, right? Like, I couldn't see past installing at that point. The best installation company around, and because I was reverse engineering everything and dissecting everything, it's like, all right, I know what not to do,
Hmm.
and that's what helped us create
Well,
the first values we had.
yeah, and just to point out something your brother said here, he said to Rollins' point, we asked the crew how they feel about things and if they have any input. Although we won't adopt everything, we will listen. And that's what I was getting at earlier. When we hire somebody, we're like, at least get acclimated and doing it our way, and then we'll listen to any input you have about how we can improve as a company. Um, One thing I would ask your brother and you is, in those instances, how do you decipher between somebody's input for themselves, meaning it's just going to be easier or faster or simpler or what have you for them versus for the overall crew, project, company?
Um,
Or do most of your, because you guys got a good team, so
yeah,
I mean,
no,
a
everybody
lot of
does
them
it.
may already think that way, but
Yeah, I think look, you got to be fluid, right? And this is where it comes in. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and we know that, right? So if someone comes up with an idea that might be better suited for them, like maybe they don't have, the physical ability to do it the same manner as someone else, right? Maybe they're like me when I was at my biggest. I couldn't contort certain ways. I couldn't move certain ways. So I did it the way that my body and my brain would allow me to do it. We don't mind being fluid enough to entertain that, and go that route. But if the outcome doesn't yield the same results, then we defer back to a standard. And you know, most of the
I like
time,
how we almost always go back to the field stuff, but I do have something to
yeah,
bring up when you're done about
yeah.
like office workers. But
So
go
so
ahead.
we revert back to the standard because it works, and 9 out of 10 people can do it that way, and there's always that one person who either can't or just doesn't agree with that method. But either way, as long as we're getting that to the same endpoint and the outcome's the same, we'll adopt whatever we need to, as long as safety protocol is followed and the standard and the outcome is the same.
Well, we've all like learned our little tricks of the trade,
Hmm.
that are maybe out not written down in the installation guidelines. But the proper way to do that is to know the installation guidelines first. I mean, you got to have rules
Yeah.
to break them. You know what I mean? Like just doing it your own way with no knowledge of the standard industry like recognized or industry recommended or manufacturer recommended method, that's not being innovative. Innovation is having a way of doing things and then improving upon that.
Hmm.
That is 100% okay. But flying off the seat of your pants and doing it your way because you think it's better, but you don't even know the standard in method. And this applies to the office even. Give you an example. I will name no names, but we have a guy that constantly does things outside of our processes, and we have to continually teach him that listen, the reason you have to do it this way is because downstream there's four other people that touch this thing. If you don't do it this way, it never gets downstream. It never makes it there for them to do their job right. And then the cascading effect is horrible for everybody, including you. So, for example, if you don't place your order in the proper manner, and then we don't have the proper paperwork to and confirmations to compare our invoices to, and that invoice gets held up in approval, and then
Ah,
that bill doesn't get paid, and they put us on hold because we didn't pay a bill that you didn't do your job right, and it all started with you just not doing your job right. And now you can't pick up materials because we're arguing about this invoice. Now that particular scenario doesn't happen, but I had to make something kind of that made sense, um, because we have other systems that this applies to. But it sounds like Ben might know who I'm talking about. But
must be Kevin.
the
You must be talking about Kevin.
I'm talking about Kevin. Um, but the truth is that you if you do it if you're not doing it right, and you're not teaching, why. The why is important for a lot of people. I'm a why
Hmm.
guy. I'd like to know why I should do it that way. Um, then usually it's downstream, and where the problem comes in. It's the same thing innovating out or not innovating, but flying the seat of your pants or doing it the best way for you. And that's why I asked you that question is like
Yeah.
deciphering what's best for the company, the project, like larger groups, is what I see as important of kind of being able to decipher that when someone brings me a new idea. I always got to think, are they innovating or are they flying off the seat of their pants? Because
Yeah.
innovation again applies to the fact that they already know our systems and the way we do it, and they want to make that better. That's innovation. Again, the other way is just doing it for yourself because it's easier or faster for you personally, but it's not best for the whole company.
So I like the way you put that about the innovation, right? So, and maybe we have to add that to our vocabulary when we're teaching someone. This is what we expect, but if you want to be innovative, then we're all for it. As long as we're following protocol and right and it
As long as they
that's a
understand what innovation really means, right? That's where
yeah
people get
not,
hung up. Like they think innovation is just doing it faster or a different way than what you're doing it. No, innovation is doing it your way and then making it better
there you go
or
and we'll have to put
suggesting
it
to make it better.
and the comparison I have or that I was talking about is there's a difference between being right-handed and left-handed, right? I can't teach a left-hander how to be left-handed and do things left-handed, but I can show them a little bit. Can I am actually pretty good at going. I'm ambidextrous when it comes to working flooring. I have no idea why. Oh, I do know why. Because I always broke a thumb or I cut off parts of my fingers and
You
like
had
I've
to
always
learn how to
been.
cut with the other
I had to
hand.
learn. Yes, I had to learn. So I do know how to do quite a few things left-handed, but that's a way to put it. Is sometimes you just got to be left-handed and the outcome will be a little bit better. But I would not want to be left-handed all the time.
Yeah. Well, the last one I have, just as a bullet point, was share the love. And what I was meaning by that, we have a profit sharing program here, but there's some companies do bonuses for their crews when they're doing good, or they do. We work as a company as a whole. If the whole company's doing well, then everybody wins. If the whole company's not, nobody's getting, or their profit share is smaller. So the sharing the love is just like, do the best you can to set up systems to actually show appreciation more than just words, sharing some of the success of your company, and some of the success stories of your company with your team.
And it's funny you say that when because we're going back. I'm going to go back to that. I don't.
Whoa. Okay, let's get Jose back on here.
Yeah.
You dropped, brother.
Yeah. What happened? How much of that
I
did you
don't
hear?
know. You were just getting started.
Oh, so back. What you just said reminds me of back to the affirmation thing. When when I was getting more comfortable doing everything on my own, and now they would say, "Hey, thank you, man. That's you did a great job." I used to come back with, "You don't need to thank me. Thank me on my check." Right? Like that. Used to say,
Well, you
I
come by it on. You come by that whole thing honestly. It sounds like.
yeah, and
Thank
that
me on my check.
yeah, thank me on my check. I used to say things like that. Like, no wonder people just didn't like me for a while, but that's okay. But yeah, it's just one of those things where some people are motivated by affirmation, motivated by dollars. Some people are motivated by
Truth is
just
probably some combination of the two. And
yeah,
finding the combination is pretty good. We have a good history of keeping long-term employees here, and so we're doing some things right. And I like to think that making sure that you don't bring toxic people into your company. So hiring right um, can sometimes hurt us because we hire slow, which is not the best. We got to find and improve our processes around that. That's one of, like I said, we're revamping our hiring process as we speak, and one of the things is smoothing that process out so we can move somebody through the process faster and we can hire faster than what we do. But it goes into bringing in the right people, which is what you just popped up here for Roland and what he says. He says, for someone to work for me, I set them down and see if they understand my values and are willing to work by them. I also ask them if they like what they do, if it's just a job and not what they like to do. They don't fit. I think essentially he's saying, hey, if you love what you're doing and you can work uh, and understand my values, and it's kind of interesting. He says understand and then willing to work by them. Uh, Understanding and working by them are two different things, and so he
Hmm.
covered both bases. Um, but then he also cares that they are doing something they like. And I've always said around here that if you don't like working here or what you do, then I that is the fastest way to lose your job with me. And it's not, it doesn't have to be, adversarial. It's just like if you're not happy here or you don't like what you do, then we got to get you somewhere else, man, because life's too short to be doing stuff for 8, 10, 12 hours a day that you don't like doing.
Yeah, that makes for very long days.
Yeah.
And one of the guys said too, because like I'm at work a lot. My family comes here, they bring me dinner, they hang out, right? Like I'm here a lot. And a lot of it is because if I try to take my computer home, I am 100% distracted by my family because
Hmm.
I'm at home.
I
It's a
can't
different
work from
atmosphere.
home.
Dude, yeah, me either. I'll be honest, me either. I am too easily distracted by the simple things. And he was like, well, you work a lot. Like, go hang out with the family. I'm like, well, they're going to come here. And, I don't really look at it like, yeah, I come to work a lot. But when I'm learning all these new things and I'm trying to find a solution for the issues that we have or potential issues, and Daniel's learning new things, I said, that's exciting. Like that, like
Hmm.
to me, that's exciting. And I like being a part of that. And then he's like, you know, I was part of it too. I remember when you started in the garage and then you went to the
Hmm.
storage unit, and he was like, I was there. Every time you made a move, I was there. And I appreciate you let me be a part of that. And that I don't get to work with the guys often enough to listen to their views. And
That's cool.
that made me show appreciation a little bit more. And it actually lit a fire under me too. Like, all right, now let me work with this guy. Let me see what we can learn from one another. Let me see what he could teach me, what I could teach him while we're doing things that are outside of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I'm like, I still got to get back to work, brother. So I like to hang out with you more, but I got to get back in the office and do some work.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, just go. I don't know why you're out here wasting my time anyway.
Well, we have come upon the
Yeah, we have.
end of our podcast. And so thanks everybody for joining us and commenting. If you're catching us on our YouTube channel, say thank you to Ashlyn. She's the one who makes all that happen for us. And we appreciate you. Give us a like and subscribe over there.
Boom,
We do
boom.
have some metrics in that need a little more interaction from our audience. We've got people that watch but don't follow or don't comment or don't like and subscribe. That's your prerogative, but it sure helps us out if you do. So give us some love on the platforms that you're wherever you're watching this, and let us know. We're always open to new topics, and if you think of anybody we should bring on the huddle, please let us know. We get
Yeah.
a we do a lot of the guests, and would love to know who you guys would like to have on. So shoot us an email or let us know in the chat next week. We'll log it down and get them on. So for the uh, those of you who were here during the beginning and know that Daniel's wife and Daniel and Jose's mom had a successful kidney transplant, and they're in recovery. So thoughts and prayers and good tidings to them, and we'll be thinking about them for sure. So with that, everybody, thank you for joining us, and we will catch you guys next week.
Thank you, everyone.